Here we will talk about reflections over the y-axis of some of our basic functions. Reflections over the y-axis have the property that there will be a negative sign on what I call the inside of the function. Sketch the graph of y equals square root of negative x. The square root function as a basic shape is a good one to talk about reflections over the y-axis. We know that the basic square root function starts at 0, 0 and curves off to the right. So this would be square root of x. Here, notice that because we are 0 and to the right on the x-axis, then every single square root of x would be defined. So in other words, the x value underneath this root would be understood to be a positive value. Well, when we put a negative underneath, then that means that we're going to be reflecting this graph over the y-axis. In other words, this graph would start at 0, 0 and be reflected this direction. Notice that on that side of 0, 0, all my x values are negative, and to be able to take the root, I'd have to apply an additional negative in front. In other words, one of the values in here might be -4. To be able to take the root, then I would have to have an additional negative symbol to be able to take that root and get a valid answer out. Having a negative on the inside of the function, here's what I'm talking about here. In other words, on this particular example, my root function's the basic shape. The negative occurs inside versus something happening on the outside would be this. And we've talked about if we have a negative on the outside, then that's a reflection over the x-axis. So reflections over the y-axis happen on the inside.